Hey everyone, it's Adam from Spirited Systems, and today I'm going to do a gear shakeout on my belt kit. This is a custom kind of prototype kit that I've been putting together for many years. Right now it's just kind of in a prototype phase, but it's something I use pretty often. And I based it off of the kit that I wore in Afghanistan, mainly when I was doing like recon mission stuff. So let's just get right into it with the kit itself. So there's like a ton of different pouches on this. Some of them are made by Spirited Systems. Some of them are made by Mystery Ranch or Cry Precision, or I think we even have some Blue Force Gear stuff in here. All really reputable brands, all good pouches. But starting from my right side when I wear the kit, I just have a smoke grenade. A lot of what you see in here is going to be more sustainment items, things that you need for command and signal, stuff like that. In the next pouch, I like these Cry mag pouches because they can be used for more than just magazines. So in this one, I just have my civilian kind of Baofeng radio, as well as my boom mic for my comm setup. And I just keep them both in there just so it's easily accessible, but I also like to take this off so it doesn't get broken or anything like that moving around. The Baofeng is not the best radio out there. There's definitely other radios you could get that work a little bit better, or maybe are a little more robust, but they're so cheap and readily available that I think like it's a good option if you need some kind of comms. And they also can just do a lot of different types of comms. So they're a really good radio for that. Over here I have a frag pouch, and obviously, being a civilian now, I don't have frag grenades to put in that pouch. But I still keep it on there just in case, if things really went weird and I was able to recover some of that stuff, I want to have the ability to carry it. But what I carry in that pouch now is my signal panel, which is cut down. I learned a long time ago there's no reason to carry a whole signal panel. So I carry that in there, and then I carry a kind of old-fashioned little micro signal mirror just in like a little leather pouch to protect it that I just sewed up. So that's what I keep in that frag pouch right now, is just, again, some more kind of command and signal items. This pouch is unique. You can see it's really big. It's a really big pouch, and you've probably never really seen anything like that. It's because it's a custom prototype pouch that we mocked up just for this kit. And it's something we might make in the future, but we're just not building it now. The idea behind it is that you can, if you're in kind of a rifleman mode, you can carry just a ton of stuff, just a ton of equipment that you need. You can just kind of overload it. Or if you happen to come across a belt fed of any sort, you can also place really large box, ammunition carriers inside of this pouch. So we're gonna open it up. So you can see, I just have a ton of stuff just kind of crammed in here. So I'll start pulling this out. So just like tools, useful tools that I think everybody should kind of have on them. My headlamp with a red lens on it. I like this style because it, no matter what you do, it's gonna have a red lens over it. This has this is an older style. I'm not sure the model anymore. This is a Petzl, but as long as that filters over it, it's gonna be red. Whereas like a lot of the headlamps that are coming out now, they hit like a white light mode potentially the first time. So that's why I still keep this one around. You can see I replaced the band on it because the other one had maxed out. I have the tried and true Garmin 401 wrist GPS. So that's something that I replaced the strap with like a watch strap, but that's something that I keep in there. My gloves, I always keep a set of gloves with me no matter what the temperature is outside. And then this guy right here, which is Arcteryx balaclava. And I carry this because I can wear it as a beanie, like a neck gaiter, or as a full balaclava for identity reasons, warmth reasons, just comfort items. So I always have, like a beanie or something to put on my head to keep my head warm. I have just like some high calorie, like calorie dense snacks. So there's just like some Cliff Blocks in there, a Cliff Shot, and then some kind of caffeine or like caffeinated energy drink powders, which I really recommend because if you are a caffeine fiend, if you're somebody who drinks caffeine daily, if you're a couple of days into self-sustaining, you're gonna really start having some bad headaches and stuff like that because you don't have caffeine. So make sure you get something with caffeine in it to kind of tide you over. And then I have my kind of two spare magazines, right? You don't need, every magazine doesn't have to be like quickly accessible. So I just keep two spare mags in there as well. And so that is, that's everything that's in this pouch. And you can see it's quite a large pouch. It has some structure to it. Again, you could put link in there if you needed to, as well as box mags. We put a Velcro closure on it so that it could be something that you open and close. You can also silence this and just use the clips if you're trying to be a little more stealthy. On the top here, we put pouches on. This is, it serves two purposes. You can put a tourniquet in it, is mainly what I use it for now, or if you are still using older MS2000 strobes, then you could put that there as well. I have a pair of trauma shears just stuffed behind that pouch. I think it's a good idea to always keep a set of shears on the back of your kit there so that you always have something to cut with. This is just a regular old Nalgene bottle. This one I need to paint still, so I highly recommend that you don't have a blue lidded Nalgene bottle in your kit. But this pouch is by Mystery Ranch. It's a really good bottle pouch. I always keep at least 1 liter of water on my body, right? So this kit you might see would be in conjunction with like a rucksack or something like that, some kind of a salt pack, but I always keep 1 liter on the body. That way if I have to ditch, my pack or something, I always have some way to carry a little bit of water. So again, that's a Mystery Ranch pouch. I like it because it's easy to get the bottle in and out of, and it actually retains the bottle really well. Like the bottle was not gonna come out of there. So this pouch right here is kind of my sustainment pouch. And this keeps stuff that I'm not going to access as often, or maybe I'm only gonna access once I've gotten to a place where I can kind of take my kit off, although you can kind of swing it around to the front and access it as well. But I'll just kind of start dumping items out of it. So I have my inner ear pro for my helmet. So I keep those in there. I have Aqua Tabs in this waterproof, like kind of Ziploc, but they are just normal Aqua Tabs, even though they're packaged kind of weird. That way I can produce my own clean water. I have a Cravat. This is like a standard. You can get this at a surplus store. You can kind of fold it out to see how big it is. So I have this Cravat. Now cravats can be used for about 1,000 different things. So there's not any one purpose. And that's the other thing is I try to have dual purpose in pretty much everything I have in this kit. But this I can use to pre-filter dirty water. So if the water is very, very dirty, I can just put this over the lid and then, kind of pre-filter that water so I'm not getting a lot of sediment in my container. You can use it, obviously just wear it around your neck. You can use it to shade your face or your head, just like a normal bandana. So super useful. You can collect condensation off the ground with it if you need to harvest water that way. You can literally tie it around your ankle, and as you walk, it'll just soak up water, and then you can wring it out and use that to get water as well. And then I have your classic just multi-tool. This is a Leatherman. I always get the Leathermans that have the spring-loaded tension on them. Just a little pro tip there. That way you can do stuff more one-handed, and you're not trying to do this kind of thing. So always have a multi-tool, because in a sustainment kit, something that you're actually gonna have to be out there by yourself for an undetermined amount of time, you need to be able to fix your own stuff. You need to be able to repair things, you need to work on your weapon, whatever it is. So you need a multi-tool of some sort. Super useful in the field. And that's what this kit is all about, is kind of being self-sufficient and not having access to support all the time. So when we get into the main pouch, that was just kind of the front pouch. I'll open this guy up. So you'll see one of my comfort items, and something that I think is important to have is some kind of insulation layer, or something that's gonna block and cut wind. You never know if you're gonna get caught outside at night, whatever it is. I might plus up my equipment. In my rucksack, I may have all sorts of different wet weather gear and stuff like that, but in this, I keep a soft shell kind of wind layer with a hood that's zipped inside the collar. And this stays in there all the time. No matter what I'm doing, I have this. That way, if I get caught out at night, I have the wind shirt, I have the balaclava, and I have gloves. So I can kind of just like, be a little more comfortable when it gets cold out. So that's kind of the first larger item in there. I also have a pretty standard, just kind of cleaning kit, just in a Ziploc bag. That's in there as well. Just again, weapons maintenance. It's something that gets kind of glossed over, I think. So I have one of those. I do have a Sawyer filter in here with a dirty water bag. Again, I want to be able to collect clean water or dirty water and turn it into clean water. I want to be able to make my own water as much as possible. I have a liter carrying capacity. I can carry another 64 ounces in this. So it's just something that I always have on me, because if you don't have water, you're not gonna last very long, or you're gonna be forced to drink dirty water, which immediately starts a timer for you probably getting sick. So I always keep that in there. This is a little bit of weight, but I carry basically just batteries to replenish any piece of equipment that I have on my on my person at the time. So I have 123s, AAAs, AAs, and I have the whatever the mod light takes as well. I have 2 of those batteries charged up and ready to go, plus the fresh one that's in there. So that should be able to sustain me on pretty much any longer term operation. I also stuff in there, just in case, I have a couple of these cold shower, I think these are made by Duke Cannon. They're just cold showers in a pouch for hygiene. Hygiene's another thing that kind of gets overlooked on kit. So I have these guys in there. You can shower with them. They have like an abrasive side and a smooth side. Also, if you have to use the restroom, this is great for that. So I have a couple of those, and then I have a pack of Dayquil with Vicks. Again, if you're kind of getting sick or whatever, it's nice to just be able to take something, get rid of a headache or whatever that is. 550 cord, I have a grip of it, however much that is. I didn't measure it out. I just pulled 14 arm lengths of it, and then that's enough. Again, I can't understate how useful this stuff actually is. Pretty much every infantryman carries a grip of this on their kit because it's that critical. And then I have a lightweight shelter. So this is something I made, but it's a way to protect myself from the rain, protect my kit from the rain, to get kind of hidden. If you set this up in a shelter really low to the ground, you can really camouflage yourself and get out of the view of others. So this is something I always carry in the kit as well. You need to have some way, whether it's a poncho, whether it's a tarp, you need to have some way to protect yourself from the elements. I can literally just wrap this around my body if it's a really bad rainstorm and just kind of protect myself from the elements. So that's in the sustainment. So this is all stuff on the back this is all stuff that's inside this back pouch that I'm not going to access, every single operation. It's just kind of in there ready to go if I happen to need it. Moving along, I have a full complement med kit. So this is actually one of our refuel kits that you can get on our website. So it basically just comes with everything you need to outfit an IFAK. I just took it out of the bag and I just loosely put it inside, but I'm not going to dump the contents. It's the full refuel kit that we sell. So if you're interested in the contents there, then it's on the website. You can check it out. The only difference between that kit and what I have is I do have some naproxen pills in there. I do have some smaller like boo-boo kit type stuff, tape and things that you can make some finger wraps and stuff if you just cut yourself. As well as some triple antibiotic. So those are just care items that I put in there. So that's in that pouch right there. Up here I have a tourniquet. It's your standard, ready to go, kind of just ready to deploy tourniquet on the top. Behind that I have a fixed blade. This is a Surefire. I think the Nomen was an Echo. It does have a wire cutting function on it, which is pretty useful actually. And as well as a seatbelt cutter, and then kind of this wrench feature on there. So I like, again, I want it to have multi-function instead of just being a fixed blade knife. And it's also a very sturdy knife. I've had this for a long time. I've actually used it quite a bit to pry and stuff like that, and you can't really tell that it's that used. So definitely need a good fixed blade. I forgot there's a flathead right there as well. So it's kind of another multi-tool, but something that you do need a fixed blade of some sort on your kit. So this is identical to that pouch that I showed you earlier. It's just on this side. And this one I use to carry my night vision. So I have my my Rhino mount in there, which is a Wilcox mount. I find that Wilcox makes probably the best night vision mounting stuff. So, and then I have a set of DTNVGs in there as well. They do have the Focus Research Group caps on them. But this is my preferred night vision setup. I enjoy the DTNVSs because they're really robust and they kind of serve all the needs that I have with being with a company that will actually work with you if you need to get parts replaced or something like that. So obviously tied down because, you know, I don't want to lose them. Going over even further, I always have a Chemlight bundle. This is mostly green, and then I have a red on there that's marked. I have electrical tape because again, repairing your own stuff. Also, there's a lot of like tactical breaching stuff that we might have to do that requires extra tape. So I have that on there. Magazines, I have 2 full magazines there, and I have 2 full magazines here. So, you know, there's 4 mags there, plus the 2 that were in this other pouch, and then the one that's in my gun right there for my combat load. And then you can see this whole kit is a suspender style kit. So it's not as common nowadays to see. Everybody has really switched to plate carriers and chest rigs and things like that, which are great, which we make those products for a reason. They're very good products and they do load carriage well. Where this excels is when you are, you know, you're not being sustained. And I call it war tourism. So it's what we've basically been doing overseas in Syria, Afghanistan, Iraq, where we basically just dominated that field of battle so heavily that we knew we really just needed to carry as much stuff. We knew that like a helicopter is only a couple hours away at most, and that there were other adjacent units that could come help us. We could have speedballs kicked off, things like that. So the kit's really shrunk to, you know, a couple magazines and, you know, a Camelback maybe or something to just get you through that couple hour operation. This really is geared more towards being out there, having to sustain yourself, and having to have equipment that you can draw from your own kit and not have to rely on anybody else to do that. And I think honestly, for people in the United States who are worried about civil unrest and things like that, having, you know, some kind of bag that you go to, you bring with you, some emergency kind of bag, you could actually consider maybe having like a belt kit where all that equipment's just inside your kit instead of having a bag. Or maybe you have a bag that's supplemental as well, but you've broken out your layering system to where you have stuff in here, you have stuff in your bag, you have stuff on your person, and all those things work together. One of the notable things with this is that I don't have a pistol on here. And so I know a lot of people have asked me questions about, hey, where's your sidearm, where's your pistol? In Afghanistan, I really didn't carry a pistol that often. I had it, but I just didn't really see a need to carry a pistol too much. I carried my rifle primarily, and honestly, walking up mountains, a pistol is, anything on your belt is kind of, it gets in the way after you're walking for, you know, 10 hours up a mountain or something. I like to really keep everything kind of above my hips if I can, just for mobility reasons. And the same thing, I feel like walking through dense vegetation, having a pistol, having a bunch of stuff hanging off, it's just going to get caught. It's going to make you really hot on your lower body. Your core and your legs are really large muscle groups and they're putting out a lot of heat. So again, I think this kit really does well in those environments. So if you think you're going to have to sustain yourself, you need to really think about having more than just a plate carrier's worth of stuff, or you're just putting it in a bag, which is okay too. I also don't have armor with this setup. Now I can wear this over armor, and that's what I did in Afghanistan, is I wore essentially a very similar setup to this, just over a plate carrier that was completely slick. So that works as well. You can use it with armor. So the reason why I like it, all those reasons I just stated, but also it's just very versatile. You can wear it with armor, you can wear it without armor, you can load it up with a lot of stuff, you can take stuff out of it, make it more lightweight. You can also remove this entire panel. You could take this off and then just connect these two panels, which is great if you're like doing a lot of vehicle stuff. You can just get rid of this sustainment pouch, so it's nothing's on the back, on your back while you're in a car or whatever. So that's the kit. That's kind of the shakeout there. We'll move over to the helmet. So my helmet's pretty standard to what you see with everyone else. I still use a helmet even if I'm not wearing body armor. I pretty much always wear a helmet. If I'm doing any kind of tactical movement or anything that I feel like there is any sort of threat to my life, I am gonna put a helmet on. I've just seen too many close calls where helmets have saved people, and they're not always in a firefight. It might just be in a vehicle or whatever, the case is with that. It's just something that I feel like you should always just have on your head. It's just too easy to wear it. They're comfortable. They're pretty lightweight nowadays. This is an MTEK ballistic helmet, so it's the lightest helmet on the market. So it's not that bad to wear. So I just always wear it. Plus there's a bunch of equipment on it that I want access to, like my comms stuff. This is the Ops Core set here. You can see it rotates, which is nice. So you can kind of wear it like this, honestly, if you're just walking around. Still hear your comm stuff come through, but get some airflow to your head. But then you can also just pop these out of the way. It's really easy to stow this way, and it keeps your ear pro from getting all jacked up and bent. I always have camouflage netting on my helmet. This is something that I took from the Army. I always try to wear it on my helmet. It just breaks up the outline of your helmet a little bit. Guys got to remember that your helmet is the first thing that you expose when you're like looking around corners, when you're looking up over a berm or something. Your helmet's going to be the first thing that your head is the first thing you expose. You definitely want it to be protected. So another thing people ask about is the goggles. Eye pro is super important if you're in a vehicle. If you think you're going to have to shoot inside that vehicle, gloves and eye protection are super important. I always have this extra set that's just on here. These are actually goggles. You can see they do have a seal. And I have these on here. I actually took this off of a guy, a buddy of mine who is an NSW dude, and he had a set of goggles on his helmet like this, and I just thought it was really smart. So I took this a couple years ago and started doing it. It makes a lot of sense, because if your eye pro fogs up, or you take it off and you drop it or something like that, you always have an extra set. Plus, if you are doing any kind of helicopter stuff, anything with a lot of high wind, your eye pro maybe isn't the best option, so you just flip down your goggles. I did modify these. I did place a buckle on them. It just makes it a little easier. Instead of having to pull this down over night vision or something like that, you can just unclip it and then just bring them down to the front and just kind of clip it back in over your eyes. So super easy to use. I have a tie down loop here on my my shroud, and I use that to clip my nods into. Again, saw a lot of guys fall like face first and smack their nods, and of course it breaks away at a certain amount of pressure. And then, if they're not tied down, your nods are just now somewhere. Maybe they're rolling down a hill, maybe they're not. But I don't ever want to lose my my night vision, so I have them tethered with a 550 cord to my helmet. The Hellstar strobe, pretty standard. This is a overt covert model. It has the green and the flashing strobing effect. So you can see it's just green like that. If I click it over, it also strobes. And then if I push this switch up, it's actually on right now. You just can't tell because it's IR. So, and one's a constant mode and one is a blinking mode. The reason why I prefer this over Manas and other options is that I found that these just work better for the user to know. Like, I can reach up, and I know based on how this is oriented on my helmet, I can reach up with my finger and just absolutely ensure that it is in a overt or a covert mode, right? I just know for sure that when I turn this thing on, it's not gonna just all of a sudden flash, you know, a bright white light on the side of a mountain or something like that. So I like that. I also find that it works, well, anecdotally through other people, I've found out that this survives cold weather better as well. So if that's, you know, anything there. So I always have one of those on there for PID type stuff. They're really useful too, just like at the range. If you're doing any night shooting, the instructors can turn on a green light so that everybody knows that they're an instructor and also where they are on the range. And then I also have a Surefire Vampire light on here, which means that it's both IR and white light. Again, I like to try to keep everything IR or white light. This light is real simple to use. You just click the button, it's really bright, and it is mounted to the rail here, but it has this S&S Precision axe mount, so I can actually point it up at the ceiling. This technique is something I learned from Richard Mason down at Darcy. Basically, he calls it an umbrella light. You can just kind of do this, stick it, and then this light is actually going to reflect off the ceiling instead of shining it. Everybody's had that time where somebody's just shining a headlamp or something in your eyes constantly whenever they look at you. So once you've, you're in your post-assault kind of, procedures, and maybe you're doing SSE, stuff like that, you just need some light. This will illuminate an entire room for everybody in there. So you just flip it up and turn it on, and then it'll just reflect off all the surfaces. But you can also, point it directly in front of you if you are having to get more, tactile with something, or you have to manipulate something a little more sensitive. You can really hit it with a lot of light. So I like that as well. That's on there. And then I also have a modified chin strap that doesn't have a chin cup on it. The good thing about the MTEK is you can literally snap the chin strap on and off in like 3 seconds. So I have a full chin cup version, but I enjoy this one for my gas mask. That's essentially why I have this. It just means I don't have to have an extension, and I wear my gas mask a lot. So I like having that kind of custom chin strap. And then as far as identification goes, I have an IR square on the back of my helmet and on the front here. And then I also have just an American flag. Again, that's just a force of habit. I mean, I still love America. I hope you do too. But I also, if there's another American, it's just a way to identify, hey, we're probably on the same team. And then I have this. I always carry a spark light as well. This one is an IR model, and I like these because we do sell these. So full disclosure, but I do like them. There's a reason why we sell them. Is that it is a much cheaper alternative to the Hellstar, and they're so cheap that I don't mind having a couple of these, and I can attach these to other people. If they don't have some kind of IR marker, you can leave them behind. You could put them on inside somebody's vehicle, turn it on, and have that vehicle flashing if you wanted to identify that for adjacent units or something. So I think these are a great option. I think you just keep a spare one on the back of your helmet, and they're super easy to use. You just push them and they turn on. So that's the lid. That's the configuration that I have it in right now. And then lastly, I have this guy, which I've been testing out now for a while. And it's just it's a fanny sack on steroids, and it's like a cross between a lunchbox and a fanny sack. And this is primarily, we built this for like breaching applications. And so the things that I keep in it right now are more geared towards, kind of kinetic entry stuff. So these are all tools that I use, for breaching. Just kind of got some stuff in there. So, but the reason why I'm showing this is because I use this not just for breaching. I always have a way, even when I'm wearing this kind of rig, I always want some way to kind of downsize what I'm carrying and like throw some essentials into something I can wear around the waist. And that is, that's where this comes in. And a fanny sack I use in the same configuration as well. It's just nice that if you do get to somewhere that's a little safer, where you can reduce your signature some, or if you need to reduce your signature, but you still want to carry some additional equipment, So I would be able to take my IFAK out of the pouch and put it in here, or I could take my concealed pistol and I could put it in here as well. And this is just a little bit bigger version of the fanny sack. So something we're testing out. We may bring it to market, we may not, depending on end user feedback that we're collecting right now. So yeah, so that's the nylon side of things and my helmet. And then the last thing I kind of wanted to talk about was my rifle setup. We get a lot of questions from people asking what they should have or the why behind certain things. And this is my go-to kind of jack of all trades rifle. It's a parts gun, which is kind of ironic that that's the one that I ended up, kind of liking the most. But it's a pretty simple setup, and that's where I wanted to keep this very simple. So we'll start from the back. It's just got, a tapered, like kind of SOCOM style stock on it. It does have battery storage in it. I don't ever use them because if you take a battery out, they just rattle around in there, and that's super annoying. So that's the stock. I do have a law folder on it. And again, I'm always thinking about how can I reduce the size or the signature of my stuff. I think that's super important for anyone who thinks they might find themselves ever having to run operations within the United States, which, like, who knows, it's part of being prepared, is just planning for things. So I like having the ability to fold that stock down. This rifle with the stock folded can fit inside of an auto bag, which is nice. So I can transport this around, discreetly inside of that bag. So it's got the law folder. It's an arrow lower and upper set, so nothing fancy. I have a old, A grip on here that I've just filed down that center groove in there. I don't really care about that. The Geisley trigger set. I have an aim point, which is my preferred optic. I think it's just like a beast of an optic. It's very easy to adjust very quickly. So if you find yourself in a transitional environment where you're using your white light inside and it's very bright, so you need to jack the power up all the way, and then you go back outside at nighttime and you want to turn it way down into your kind of night vision mode. So that's why I like this. You're not fumbling with, like on the EOTech, you're kind of fumbling with those buttons on the side. When you have gloves on and stuff, it's just kind of a pain. Moving forward, I have a Geisley, I think it's a Mark II rail. It's old. People ask about it all the time. I don't know the exact model or length. We just cut it down. So Zane, one of the other owners of Spirited Systems, he kind of just helped me just cut this down. He's good at working with metal, so we just cut it down, and it used to be a little longer. This is a 12.5-inch barrel. This is a Noveski Crusader barrel. Super accurate. It's a really good barrel. Really have been impressed by that, honestly. I have a mod light. I've grown to kind of prefer the mod light over some of the Surefire stuff, just because the beam on it is just superior, in my opinion. For what I use it for, the throw on this is just excellent. It's an excellent light. Mod Light is also a super legitimate and good company. I've met those guys a couple of times. They're just very, very honest people. So I like working with them. It's a great light. I have a Maul on here, B. Myers Maul. I still think that, there's a lot of good lasers out there, but this is still the king in terms of functionality for like an assaulter on an assault carbine. And the reason why, like as we're kind of close up on this, and you can see, if you don't know how a Maul works, you have a wheel up here that essentially, I just click it over, there's this arrow right here, and that tells me it's on the visible setting or it's on the IR setting. So super easy to turn this thing on. I just flip it and that powers the unit on. And then we have a couple of different switches here. So we have a push switch right here, and then we have these two buttons, and that's it. That's all the control on here. So what I like about it is if this is all the way pushed back, this slider, then I know that I am in like an inside setting on the device, which means that my floodlight is going to be very broad and very soft, and my pointer is going to be also pretty soft too. This is beneficial because if you've ever done operations at night where you go inside of a building and everybody has a LA5 on full power, dual high, all of a sudden you have these like lightsabers going across the room, everything's washed out, it's just too much, it's very bright. this, you know, basically you go in the room, super perfect. It's like the perfect amount of illumination. There's a medium setting in between, and that gives you kind of like the way I like to describe them all is on approach to the Assault, I would have this pushed all the way forward, which is like my long range, high powered illuminator and pointer. And then as we get closer in that like mid range, I just pop it back one setting. And that gives me that, like, it's not quite as focused. It's a little broader and the pointer is just right. And then if I pull it all the way back, that gets me in the interior. So the minute that the breach goes off and I know that we're committed and we're going inside, I just pull this back and I just know that I'm gonna have the right amount of light and illumination when I get inside the structure. So I'm not blinding everybody else, which is a concern. If you have a PEK style laser, you're fumbling with a knob on the top. So you're literally taking the rifle and you're like having to do this, or you're flipping a cap over the aperture, right? The aperture covers, which are usually broken off, but you're flipping those over, and that's just not something I want to be doing when I'm about to enter a structure. I would much rather have this like that, and then the breach goes off, I know we're committed, and then I just pull that back. So that's why I prefer them all, in case, you know, all the haters out there who are gonna talk about it. I definitely prefer that. I also have this Unity mod light kind of button up here, and that has become my preferred way to use my white light on the rifle. And the reason, again, is that at night, when I have my hand up here, I have to make a very deliberate decision to break my grip a little bit and bring my thumb up to press this, this button. Otherwise, if the switch is in line or if it feels kind of similar, or you just might accidentally bump it, I just find that I just don't bump this and have some kind of ND, you know, negligent discharge of my white light, which is a big deal on a green screen kind of covert operation. You definitely don't want to have that, you know, bumping into it. It's got this nice crown on it to kind of protect it. So again, a Unity tactical product that I really like. And then up here, finally, at the fore end of the gun, I have a Dead Air Sandman S. This has become kind of the standard for me on suppressors. I purchased this, so this is not, you know, something that they sent to me. This guy is very, very good. It's longer than the K, and a lot of people don't like that for, you know, CQB type stuff. But again, this is general purpose, right? So the extra signature reduction is worth it to me to have it. But the biggest thing about Dead Air that I like is every time I shoot a Surefire can, which are very good cans, I still think that Surefire produces a great product in both lights and suppressors, but I will criticize them on every time I fire through Surefire cans, I have to basically unlock the can by shooting the can off, right? I have to unlock it and then shoot it off. It just gets carbon locked so bad. Dead Air just has you know, this proprietary locking system that I really enjoy, so I'll just show you how it works. So you just take a hold of the can and you just spin, and then the can comes off. I've never seen one become carbon lock. So you just line it, there's a notch on there, you just line it up, and then again, you just spin it, and now the can is locked back on. So for me, this is preferable because it's not going to get carbon locked on there. And then as far as retention goes, I have a very used, as you can see, original prototype of the Sierra Tac sling on here that I've been using for years. And then I just have a kind of a Ranger band around here just to retain my sling. Retaining your sling is something that we've talked about in another video, but I'll just hit it again real quick. It's just important to make sure that your sling is not going to get hung up on anything if you are trying to extract it from a vehicle. It doesn't even matter if it's a vehicle. Honestly, if your weapon is not around you, if your sling is not around you, your sling should be retained, stowed. That's just kind of a general rule I like to follow. That way it's just never a problem. It's never caught on anything. It's never in the way. It's never blocking stuff that you don't want it to block. And when you stow it this way, you simply just pull it free. And now you can put it around your neck and do whatever you got to do with it. So slings are critical. I think they keep the rifle to your body. They keep you from losing it. Maybe in a IED strike or something like that. It just keeps the rifle with you at all times. I also do QD mounts on mine. I used to not be as much of a fan because they spin around and they get your sling kind of twisted, but I've since kind of come around to them because if your sling ever becomes entangled, you just want to get rid of it. So you can just pop it off very easily. So yeah, that's it for my kit shakedown. Again, I just want to put like kind of a disclaimer out there. This kit is specific to like an operational environment where you're going to need to self-sustain and you need to have more equipment on you and you need to be able to carry that stuff efficient, and fast. I think that it works very well in a lot of operational environments and it can be flexed either way, which is something I like about it. It's very forgiving no matter kind of what you're doing. It's not as great if you have to wear armor, so it is something that if you're going to get into a fight, maybe not the best choice. If you can put some plates on, it's probably smart to do so. But kit is very specific to the environment that you're working in. And so don't just go out and just copy everything that I have in here. Really just make decisions about what you think you're gonna need. My sustainment kit is gonna be very different than say Fred's sustainment kit, which maybe will convince him to do a video on his belt kit as well, and he can show you what he has. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.